A lot of us, when we get anxious, can tend to catastrophize, which is to say that we start to imagine just how terrible things could get. We start to imagine it or think it, or it's sometimes it's a bit out of view, the imagining, but it's more like a feeling about how terrible things could get. We kind of get flooded by that feeling, which is kind of the anxiety. It's hard to separate it from the anxiety. It's this flooded sense of things are going to collapse and fall apart and be utterly woeful, that we're going to be homeless and diseased and insane or whatever. And this is kind of where it goes in our minds. And I don't think this is just crazy and irrational. I think it's a sense of the chaos that we kind of hang over, we balance over. Life can descend into chaos and terror. Mostly it doesn't, and that's real too. And that's important to remember. And so you can bring yourself back from unhelpful anxiety, even if it points to a certain truth, it's unhelpful. It's not making things better. And if things go as terribly as they could possibly go, well, then they'll go there. You'll die, okay? You'll go insane. If it's going to go that badly and it's going to be out of your hands, then why are we worrying about it? Instead, let's make life as good as we possibly can now. And so we have to come back to the realm of probability, which is where we dwell. We are in the realm of probability where I get in my car currently, I start it, it's probably going to start. Like it starts, typically. It hasn't not started, and it gets me there. I'm probably not going to have a car accident on the way there. I'm probably not going to get attacked by a dog in this bushland, although I'm sure that's happened on rare occasions. So you can't, if you live your life in the realm of the worst possibility, you're going to be emotionally harmed and you're going to shrink from the world. And you're certainly not going to be creative or entrepreneurial. You're not going to make the world work wonderfully for you. You're not going to go for wonderful things. You're going to focus on surviving and withdraw. So we have to step back into the realm, not of possibility, but of probability. Come back to that realm of probability. And the simple way to do this, I find for myself, is just to remind myself that I've had this feeling many times before, and remember having that feeling. And then ask myself the question, what's happened in the past? How bad has it got? And typically I would have had this feeling in worse ways. If you can sort of hone your memory, this is one thing where it's good to remember sort of some past traumas, and these are the emotional traumas of this anxiety. If you can keep them in mind, you can get a bit of proportion happening and come back into the realm of probability by reminding yourself that you've been in this emotional state before, or worse, multiple times. The situation you've been in has probably been worse. You've had less money, or your job's been more insecure, or you've been more unemployed, as it were, and you've gotten through it. You've gotten through it because you exist in a realm of probabilities and predictabilities, and you can make life work in that context. You just need some time. You need effort and so on as well, but you also need patience and a bit of trust and hope and time. And things inevitably, every time so far, have worked out in your life. So why is this going to be any different? There's nothing empirically in the situation that really points to this being any different or any worse. So come back to this realm of probability and ask yourself, have I been in situations like this before, and what's the worst that has actually happened? And that's a bit of a predictor for what's going to happen this time. And typically, you are going to get through it. If you're listening to this video, you've gotten through stuff. So you are going to get through it. And typically you're going to get through it okay. The vast majority of those situations, you got through okay in the end. So bring yourself back to that. Get empirical about your fears. And when you get empirical about your fears, as you get descriptive about how things have happened, that brings you back to the realm of probabilities and back to the realm of things having handles on them. Oh, I can do that. That's like a handle. Oh, I can ask that person. I can work it around it this way. If I'm just patient, in a week's time, something else will come through if I've made those applications or contacted those people. Those are handles in reality that you take a hold of, and that's handles in empirical, predictable, probable reality. Come back to that.